Today, we're delving deep into the life of Ishmael, Abraham's often overlooked son. This isn't just a forgotten tale from ancient texts, it's a saga that challenges our understanding of family, destiny, and legacy. Join me as we uncover the hidden layers of Ishmael's story, revealing how his journey shaped history in ways we're still unraveling today. You see, the story of Ishmael is as much about human impatience and faith as it is about divine promises. Ishmael, the firstborn son of Abraham, was born not out of a miraculous fulfillment of a divine promise, but from a decision marred by human impatience and lack of faith. Let's go to the beginning. Abraham and his wife, Sarah, then Sarai, were living under a heavy promise, God's assurance that Abraham would father many nations. Imagine the weight of that promise, the anticipation, the hope. But as years rolled by without a child, Sarah's faith wavered. In an act of desperation, she offered her Egyptian servant, Hagar, to Abraham as a surrogate. Abraham was 86 at that time. This was a common practice in ancient times, where a child born through a surrogate would be considered the legitimate child of the couple. However, this decision brewed a storm of emotions and consequences. When Hagar realized she was pregnant, her relationship with Sarah soured. The Bible narrates that Hagar, perhaps emboldened by her pregnancy, began to despise Sarah. The tension escalated to the point where Sarah, feeling wronged and humiliated, lashed out at Abraham, who then gave Sarah the authority to handle Hagar as she deemed fit. This led to Hagar fleeing into the wilderness, carrying the child of promise and pain. In the wilderness, the narrative takes a divine turn. The angel of the Lord appeared to Hagar, assuring her that her yet unborn son was part of a larger plan. Ishmael, whose name means God hears, was to be the father of a great nation. The angel foretold that Ishmael would be a wild donkey of a man, symbolizing a life of struggle and conflict, but also of survival and resilience. So, Hagar returned. But the story takes another twist, and the inevitable happens. We see this real turning point happen in Genesis 21. Here, the dynamics within Abraham's family take a dramatic turn following the birth of Isaac. The presence of Ishmael, now a 14-year-old boy, alongside the newborn Isaac, sparks a deep-seated conflict within the family, particularly with Sarah. The Bible describes a scene where Sarah observes Ishmael, Hagar's son, playing with or perhaps mocking her son Isaac. This moment ignites a fear in Sarah that Ishmael might share Isaac's inheritance, leading her to demand Abraham to send Hagar and Ishmael away. The decision tore at Abraham's heart. Despite his affection for Ishmael, Abraham complied, reassured by God's promise that Ishmael too would become a great nation. The following morning, Abraham sent Hagar and Ishmael away with some provisions, off into the wilderness of Beersheba. In the wilderness, Hagar and Ishmael face dire circumstances. As they wander, their provisions run out, and Ishmael, weakened and dehydrated, is on the brink of death. Hagar, unable to bear the sight of her son's suffering, distances herself, sitting a bowshot away. She weeps, overwhelmed by despair and helplessness. It is in this moment of utter hopelessness that divine intervention occurs. God hears the voice of Ishmael, and an angel of God calls out to Hagar, instructing her to not fear and reassuring her of God's promise to make Ishmael a great nation. The angel tells Hagar to lift Ishmael and hold him, for he is destined to establish a great nation. This promise of a great future for Ishmael echoes the promises made to Abraham. Moreover, God opens Hagar's eyes, and she sees a well of water, a symbol of life and salvation in the midst of the desert. This miraculous provision saves their lives, allowing Ishmael to grow and become an archer in the wilderness of Paran, setting the stage for his future and the fulfillment of God's promise. This episode is not only about the survival of Hagar and Ishmael, but also a testament to the enduring nature of God's promises. Despite the heartache and the trials they faced, God's fidelity remained steadfast. Ishmael's near-death experience and subsequent salvation in the desert parallel the story of Isaac and the binding, Akedah. Both sons, in different circumstances, are on the brink of death, yet both are saved by divine intervention. This narrative symmetry highlights the interconnectedness of their destinies and God's overarching plan. Ishmael's expulsion, thus, is a pivotal moment in biblical history. It marks not only the physical departure of Hagar and Ishmael from Abraham's household, but also the beginning of a distinct path for Ishmael, one that is separate from Isaac's, but equally part of the divine narrative. You see, the legacy of Ishmael is a tapestry of family, tribes, and territorial claims that stretches across the annals of history. After surviving the trials in the wilderness, Ishmael and his mother Hagar settle in the desert of Paran. Here, Ishmael's life takes a new turn as he marries an Egyptian woman, perhaps reflecting his mother's heritage. This union marks the beginning of a lineage that would have a significant impact on the region's history. Ishmael lived to be 137 years old, and within his lifetime he fathered 12 sons. These sons were Nebaioth, Kedar, Adbel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. He also had a daughter called Mahalath, or Basemath, who became the third wife of Esau. Yes, that Esau, the son of Isaac and the brother of Jacob. Each of Ishmael's sons became a leader or a prince of his own tribe, and their settlements spanned a significant portion of the Arabian Peninsula, from Havilah to Shur, near the border of Egypt. The Bible presents a vivid picture of Ishmael's descendants. They were known for their nomadic lifestyle as Arabs, which means nomads. This nomadic characteristic was a fulfillment of God's earlier description of Ishmael as a wild donkey of a man, symbolizing freedom, independence, and a life of constant movement. The descendants of Ishmael were also known for their warlike nature, living in hostility toward all the tribes related to them, including, later on, the Israelites. Let's delve into some of the notable sons of Ishmael. First, Nebaioth, who is often linked with the Nabateans, a tribe that occupied lands east of the Jordan River. They were renowned for their herds and later for their trading prowess. It is believed that Nebaioth's sister, Mahalath, married Esau, linking the Ishmaelites with the Edomites. Then there is Kedar. The name Kedar means black, possibly referring to the color of their tents. The Kedarites occupied areas south of Palestine and east of Egypt. They were known for their formidable archers and played a significant role in the region from the 8th to the 4th century BC. The rest of the other sons became the progenitor of a tribe, contributing to the diversity and spread of Ishmael's lineage across the Arabian Peninsula. I will create a video in future going into detail about each of the 12 sons of Ishmael and where their descendants are right now. Regarding Ishmael's wealth, the Bible doesn't provide explicit details about his personal riches. However, given the nomadic and tribal nature of his descendants, it's likely that wealth was measured in terms of livestock, trade connections, and territorial control rather than the accumulation of material wealth as understood today. It's important to note that the biblical narrative focuses more on the fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham and Ishmael about their descendants, rather than on material wealth. Ishmael's descendants are traditionally seen as the progenitors of many Arab tribes, forming the basis of the Arab nation. Historical narratives and genealogies in the region often trace their origins back to Ishmael, reinforcing a common ancestry and cultural heritage. The link between Ishmael and Arab tribes is a significant aspect of Middle Eastern history. The Arab people's connection to Ishmael gained further significance with the rise of Islam. Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was born into the Quraysh tribe, which is believed to have descended from Adnan, who himself descended from Kedar, the son of Ishmael. The Quraysh were custodians of the Kaaba in Mecca, a role that positioned them at the center of Arab religious life. Under the leadership of Muhammad and subsequent caliphs, Islam spread rapidly throughout the Arabian Peninsula and beyond, reshaping the region's religious, cultural, and political landscape. So, what do we make of Ishmael's story? It's more than just a tale of a forgotten son. It's a narrative of promises kept, of destinies fulfilled, and of identities formed. Ishmael's life wasn't just a footnote in Abraham's story. It was a chapter of its own, rich, complex, and impactful. His story fits into the larger narrative of God's plan for humanity. It shows that God's purposes are not limited to a particular group or individual, but encompass all peoples. The blessings bestowed upon Ishmael and his descendants signify God's inclusive grace and the fulfillment of his promises. What do you think? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.